Hi everybody, I am back to share this quick video. I had a couple of questions on, excuse me, sorry, about my flip pages and how I could add extra pages to a flip book. So I'm going to explain that here in this video. So if you guys want to watch, that's great. I appreciate it. And if you've already seen this kind of video a million times, you can move on. It's okay. But you know, this subscriber decided to ask me, so I thought I would share the way I do it. And like I said, there are several tutorials out there. So this is not something that I invented, on my own, but I enjoy making mini albums, and throughout the years I've learned different techniques and watched different videos, so this applies great to people who enjoy mini albums too. So what I do for me is the easiest, because it's just one sheet of paper and a couple of score lines. Is I'll take a 12 by 12 piece of paper. These two sheets are just for demonstration purposes. They're from Better Together, I think, is the new Amy Tangerine collection. So depending on if there's like a specific design, you want to make sure you cut the paper 6 by 12 so that when you fold it over, the design is going the right way. But kind of with these two patterns, it really doesn't matter. So this was the original tutorial that I had quickly shown with gussets for bulk embellishments. So after you cut the two pieces 6 by 12, you want to score them at 5 7/8 and 6 1/8. So that leaves you with that right there. And I already scored 3 of them for the purposes of the length of the video. And I'll just quickly score here. Okay, so 5 7/8, and I wouldn't press too hard, especially with paper like this. You don't want it to tear. And then 6 1/8. Okay, that's that. Then you fold it. So now I have 4 sheets of 6 by 12 scored at 5 7/8 and 6 1/8. Okay. So you don't have to add this many. You can shorten the pages if it's too much like for you, if it looks too much like too many layouts on a page. But this is the way that I assemble it. Now, you have to keep in mind that there are score marks here. So when you go to attach the paper, you can either do it on the top or like this. It's your preference, wherever you want the seam to be. You want to make sure when you glue it that you don't go on top of the score line, because what's going to happen is when you fold this, it's going to start to buckle. Because when this paper meets the score line or goes over it, it's going to start folding over the edge of this piece. So let me just quickly, it's not going to be neat. I'm just doing it, for the purpose of the video. Okay, so I will show you. Let me just see what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I like to use tape runner, a super sticky adhesive, or like Be Creative tape, which is, the, or Sukwang tape, those type of things. Let me see if I have one. Like this one. Like this tape, or red line tape. Or I really like this tape runner, which is by Basil. I think it's called the Marathon. The tape is super sticky. Okay, so if you can see that there, that's where the score mark is. And that's where, I mean, I could have gone a little bit closer, but what happens is now when you fold it, the paper doesn't overlap the score mark, so there's no buckling. Okay, so now you have a flip book, right? Well, you want to add more pages. If you wanted to add 2 extra pages, what I do is the same thing, only now I turn the paper around this way. And like I said, this might be repetitive to a lot of people, but I do get new subscribers a lot, and I'm more than happy to help, and so honored that they would even ask for my help. So, okay. On this end now, you want to be mindful of this score mark. Okay, because again, you don't want to go over the score mark. And I'm going to just turn it around like this. Come as close without going over. And I forgot to mention actually that you have, it's a little trickier now because you scored the paper to allow for gussets or bulky embellishments. The paper has gotten shortened here. Now, that's okay if you're going to cover it with a mat, but what you have to do now is think about the seam you're creating up here. Because when you stick this flap down, you have to think about this score mark here because the book is going to close like this. But you also have to think you don't want something sticking out up here. So this score mark on the vertical flip has to sit flush with the original, you know, flip book like this. Because if you close it like this, you don't want like a whole big thing sticking out like I do here. So in reality, I guess, the 2 6x12s that you glue together is fine, but here, what I would do is I would shave off about 1/8 of an inch. So if you have a 6x12 here, I would shave it down to like 5 7/8 by 12, so that when you put this down, it doesn't stick over. Okay, and I will put those measurements in the description box because I know that sounded super confusing. And now, yeah, let's do that now. Okay, and what did I do? Let's see. Okay, so now it measures about 5 6/8. Okay, and let me just make sure. Okay, so what you can do now is you can put this one that you have left and you can glue it here, or you can glue it here. Let's glue it here because this might start to get a little bit thick here, and if you still want to add matted paper to cover the white, it's going to start getting really thick. I hope that this is clear. I'm so sorry. I should have thought about the paper size as I was thinking about the video. Okay, so now again, you have to think about these score marks and this gusset hitting the seam here and the score mark that's still here. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's just, okay. Okay, so now you have, well, I didn't do it exactly perfect, but when you close the book, now you will have, let's just pretend that I had shaved that piece off. You will have a perfectly gusseted and a nicely closing book. So when you open it, it goes like this. You flip it open like this. There's a flap here. I don't know who's calling, I'm sorry. Okay, that's so distracting, I'm sorry. And then you have a flip here. Okay, so one more time. There were 2 pieces of 6 by 12 paper that I scored at 5 7/8 and 6 1/8, glued them together here. Then you're going to want to take, let's say, a 5 7/8 by 12 and score it, same score marks, well, I guess, so 5 7/8, I will put the score marks below. You're going to want a 5 6/8 and a 6-inch score mark, I guess. Because, no, I'm sorry, guys. So now this sheet of paper is 12 inches by 5 7/8. And these score marks are still going to be the same because we only shaved off the paper from here to allow for, you know, the overages, like here. You know, we shaved off 1/8 of an inch. So the score marks are still going to be the same. And I will put all the correct score marks in the description box. So when you open it, then you have a flip here and you have a flip here. You close it and there won't, aside from that boo-boo right there, there won't be any mistakes and there won't be any overhang because you've allowed for bulk on all sheets. So I hope that that was clear. I know it got a little confusing in the end, but I will properly put the right measurements in the description box. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and I hope that helped. Bye.